The West Coast rapper Gonzoe got shot after an argument towards the end of July in 2021. Rumors are whirling all around over the rap community as to how this could have happened, what led to the shooting in the first place, and who did it. Why did it happen? Some people claim that it was his friend BOSKOE. Others say it was Wack 100. We're gonna look for the answer to all those questions and more right here on Rizzle. Gonzoe came up in the 90s as part of the gangster rap crew Caution. Even outside of Caution, he was always important. He was a very close friend to Tupac Shakur and a member of the group The Outlaws. In 1995, Caution signed to Lynch Mob Records, a label headed up by Ice Cube, pretty much the MVP of NWA. They were really only in the game for about a year. They had put out some hits and collaborated with the Dog Pound. After he put away the mic, he became an entrepreneur and started a celebrity boxing company with BOSKOE 100, one of his closest friends. Recently, BOSKOE 100, a dude who was real close with Gonzoe, came out on a live to explain what happened from his point of view. BOSKOE 100 said that he had wasted tons of time in his life not being friends with Gonzoe, but once they hit it off, they were homies for life. Unfortunately, they had beef for a while, but eventually came together as homies and business partners. According to BOSKOE, the dude was hanging out shooting a music video late one night when he called up BOSKOE and told him he was about to head out and grab a bite to eat at a nearby bowling alley. Now, at the bowling alley, a bit of an altercation popped off, but Gonzoe grabbed his chicken and got out of there, thinking nothing of it. Now, whoever it was who started beef out of nowhere followed him outside and popped off 3 shots at Gonzoe, hitting him in the chest. At this point, Gonzoe tries to jet to the gas station, but on the way, he collapsed as a result of his wounds. On the live, BOSKOE goes on to explain that no matter how much hope he had for 2021, after how awful 2020 was, 2021 sucks too. After collapsing outside of the Shell gas station, Gonzoe was picked up and driven to a hospital, but unfortunately he passed away overnight. While the story that BOSKOE told says that he was shot while running to the gas station, it seems like maybe he got shot while driving after he left the bowling alley, since there was a car found in the area after the shooting that was covered with bullet holes. Whoever pulled the trigger on Gonzoe is still alive, out and about, and not in police custody. No one knows who it was or what the motive was, but the cops are on the case. In April, Gonzoe and BOSKOE engaged in a boxing match just to show that they were on good terms. Now, if the beef is so simple, why aren't things adding up here? We're not making any accusations or anything like that. It's just weird that Gonzoe ends up dead with no motive after such a recent high-profile problem. BOSKOE knows a lot about the night that Gonzoe died, but he wasn't there. He also didn't bring up the car nearby that was filled with bullet holes. Was that Gonzoe's car, or was it the car of the shooter that was driving after Gonzoe defended himself? Obviously, there are details here that the fuzz hasn't released yet, but something weird must be going down. In an interview with Vlad TV, BOSKOE got into where the beef came from right after the boxing match. According to him, the reason it happened wasn't gang beef or a neighborhood thing.
It was a jealous thing. It was clearly a jealous thing.
He was jealous of you.
He claimed that since Gonzoe had been so big in his past, rolling with Tupac and everything, he didn't want to see another dude from the streets come up the way BOSKOE was. The whole thing came out of Gonzoe being jealous of BOSKOE and all the success that he had found himself in. BOSKOE said that Gonzoe was trying his best to make the leap onto the internet with YouTube and all that type of stuff. He saw BOSKOE pulling success in that kind of world and started dissing over the internet, taking jabs here and there. At first, BOSKOE did his best to ignore the whole thing instead of blowing it up into a real problem. Eventually, Gonzoe got in on beef that had nothing to do with him. BOSKOE was beefing with someone and Gonzoe piped up to talk about how many shooters Wack had. BOSKOE didn't take kindly to Gonzoe sticking his nose where it didn't belong. Gonzoe, in an interview with Hip Hop Uncensored, talks about the social media beef he had with people like Yuckmouth and BOSKOE. And he basically says, like, who is BOSKOE even to have beef with him? While Gonzoe sits there and says that he means no disrespect on dude's name, he also sits there in the same breath talking about how BOSKOE doesn't have a #1 album. He never met Tupac. He didn't even really have a huge rap career. He then goes into full disrespect mode by saying, and I mean no disrespect, but I don't know what kind of insecurity rock I crawled up under if I was gonna have beef with BOSKOE. I mean, I must have forgot who the f I was. While he can sit there and claim that there's no disrespect there, that's not just words for trying to explain yourself. While he's sitting there talking about how he's doing his best to disarm the whole situation, he's just throwing more fuel on the fire. BOSKOE heard all this, and this was before the fight, so you know that only made BOSKOE want to throw his hands more. Can Gonzoe really say that he was in the right for that? That's where Slab, a friend of Rick Ross, hit up BOSKOE to tell him that he was in good with the people who were setting up the celebrity boxing matches. Obviously, BOSKOE saw a little bit of hype there, and he knew he could get a big bag out of it. BOSKOE immediately said, yo, if there's one dude he gonna hop on the ring with, it was absolutely gonna be Gonzoe since they had beef. Gonzoe saw the same hype and that same big bag, and it was a wrap from there. After they started training heavy, hitting the gym and all that, they posted videos everywhere, and the hype got so big that they knew they were doing something. Who noticed how big the card would be? Snoop Dogg was big into the whole celebrity boxing thing, and he hit him with the quickness to ask if they wanted to run through his promotion instead of the smaller guys they had set up the whole business with. Snoop is huge, and the offer was much better than the first one, so both Gonzoe and BOSKOE jumped on that deal immediately. That pretty much sums up the whole Gonzoe-BOSKOE situation. That's not the end of the potential problems that could have ended up with Gonzoe dead. There's another beef he was involved in, which was between him and a hip-hop manager named Wack 100. In the very same interview, he said he was too good to be beefing with BOSKOE, and he does the same thing with Wack 100, basically calling him a nobody. When he asked about how the beef got started, he claims that it came from Wack disrespecting Tupac. He calls Wack a clown. He also goes into the fact that Wack was trying to cash in on calling people out for clout. To be fair, he kinda was. Nobody just goes in on Tupac like that's okay. He's so well respected in the rap community that people just don't do that. Wack would frequently call Pac out for some random weird thing, then invite people to come talk about it. Obviously, people were angry at him for talking reckless, so they'd come onto his podcast, which would get tons of views since he was getting some big names to show up. Gonzoe's point of view here is valid. He goes on about how if he were to talk about how awful Biggie was, insulting him left and right on the internet, he'd go viral too. And that's why he thinks that Wack is just a clown with no integrity. Back in 2017, Gonzoe and Wack's beef was at its height. The two of them traded shots back and forth on social media. To save you the whole trouble of looking up the post, just know that Wack 100's big thing was telling Gonzoe he had a big nose, and Gonzoe kept accusing Wack of being a cop. It didn't really seem to be a huge problem at the time, and honestly, Gonzoe and Wack weren't really even big enough for this beef to go massively viral or anything like that. However, at one point, Gonzoe put out a track called Face on a T-shirt. It's listed on SoundCloud as a diss at Wack, and the lyrics are pretty rough. The lyrics essentially just lean into some horrorcore type vibes, describing how he's gonna destroy Wack for talking like that about Tupac. Phalos, one of Gonzoe's friends, tells a different story. He says that Gonzoe was messing with a woman he didn't want to be messing with anymore and cut the relationship off. He claims that she sent some dudes at Gonzoe after that, and after his death, she got all defensive about her involvement. He claims that most of the people in the family know what was going on but won't talk about it because they're so torn over the situation. He also said that the shooters stole his backpack after they shot him after jumping out of their truck. More of this will come out over time, but this could be the most likely cause of death. Now what do y'all think though? Why does BOSKOE know so much about the night Gonzoe died if he had nothing to do with the whole situation? Was the beef actually squashed, or did they just pretend that things were okay to make for a good story after a big fight? Did the beef between Wack and Gonzoe actually die, or was it still there, brewing in the background after all these years? It would be rough to hear BOSKOE talking like he was a brother to Gonzoe if eventually we found out he had something to do with the murder. And again, we're not making any accusations here. We're just laying out the facts about the whole mess of beef that Gonzoe's had with other rappers and influencers in the past. We also, for real, don't know anything about the woman Phalos was talking about, but, let us know what you think down in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like. Don't be afraid to subscribe either to get more rap news sent directly into your feed. As always, have a great rest of your day, and don't forget to keep it Rizzle.